digging the I can stretch out. I can put my beverage way over here, or I can bring it all clean close. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that it really much matters how. Okay. All right. We got a moment to go here. I don't know where to put all my yeah. I don't know why it does that, but so yeah. Doc says it's steak and BJ day. He didn't say that, but that's what he says. Yeah. 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 I don't know what morning uh radio DJ came up with that, but I'm sure it was someone. Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for hanging out with us for another Thursday live stream, live chat. And today, where we are, we got a lot of snow. And where Chris lives, I don't know if you guys know this, but Chris lives like, I think it's close to 20 or 25 miles towards the mountains from the shop. So he generally gets more snow than we get here in the city. And it's not like I'm in the throbbing metroplex of, Manhattan or anything, but in the suburbs where the shop is. So and it's not too terrible. It's Colorado, so we got snow. It's Colorado. What'd you expect? Um, but I assure you that Chris is safe and sound at Casa de Fesker, and he will be joining us next time for whatever we decide to do next. But we decided that it would be best to just keep everybody safe off the roads for a day, and yeah. So I'm in the underground bunker, and which is even further north than where we normally are. So yeah, so thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. Um, this is one of those. This is going to be one of those shows where I'm not 100% sure what we're going to talk about, and I don't have Chris to bounce ideas off of. So I'm going to kind of ask you to help me out with a snow day Q&A. Now it's just me, so and I have my glasses. I have the comment section here. If you guys want to do some guitar Q&A, or if you want me to tell you stories about when I worked at Rarebird Guitar Laboratory, or when I worked at Soldier of Fortune magazine, or when I went to Roberto Vin, or any of those. I tell you, I'm happy to talk to you guys about that stuff. We'll just have fun for an hour because that's what we do every Thursday. Hell or high water. I don't know if we've ever missed one. I know that Chris has done a couple in my absence, and I know that I've done a couple without Chris for weather related things or something. So anyway, yeah, so let's just talk about guitars, or talk about whatever you want, and I'll tell you guys. I'll answer the best that I can. What I can tell you is that I remember a time in Colorado, because I've lived here for going on over 30 years. Well, at this particular time, I've lived in Colorado for more than 30 years, but I lived in Colorado for several years in the early 80s. And I can tell you that I remember a time when the snow that we got, at least here in Arvada or Westminster, I can't speak for Chris, because I know Chris got a lot more, but the snow that we got in town would not have shut down all of Denver in 1980, whatever. Or even I like 15, 20 years ago, before everybody from California started moving here, this would have been no big shake. So I can tell you that. Um, J Van B asks, what is the Hawk Attack origin story? Um, that is a great question, John. And let's see. So I'm going to talk about that. Dan wants to know, do you know who else is in the September class with the Dangerous Brothers and me? Um, Dan, there are two openings. There are I think Candle is in the September 2nd class. The Dangerous Brothers and Dan, and there are two openings. Brad Guitar Miller was gonna come with a buddy, and then his plans kind of fell through, and so I said I'll save you the spots, and then things happen, so that's no big deal. So there's actually two spots if you know anyone that wants to come to the September 2nd or the September 9th. There's spots in the September 9th one too. So anyway, so let's talk about, guys, I see all these questions coming in. If you would please ask them again, or I will try to get them. But I want to talk about Hawk Attack with John, because Hawk Attack actually has a couple of gigs this weekend. The origin story. I remember almost like it was yesterday, even though it was 20 some years ago. Chris and I were both in the Aquasonics, and granted, Chris is an original member of the Aquasonics. I was the second bass player. And I don't know what happened to the original guy. I think he just had to do something different. And so they put out a thing, hey, who wants to play bass? So I said that I did. And we did. I think I was in the Aquasonics for maybe about a year. And I remember having an almost fist fight with the drummer about what clothes we were going to wear. And he didn't think that I looked right. And I thought he looked like a jackass. And it was about to come to blows. And I went home and I got on Craigslist was just becoming a thing then. And I got on Craigslist and I typed in, have bass, will travel. I'd like to say I'm into everything from AC/DC to ZZ Top, but really, I just like those two bands. And Brett called me like almost immediately, because if you know Brett, you know that like that's basically Brett and I are cut from the same cloth in what we like musically, for all intents and purposes. But yeah, so that was something that was just sort of destined to be. And I was in both bands for a little while, and that was fun, but that kind of ran its course. And yeah, I wanted to play different music, and I love surf music, I really do. But the Aquasonics got really good gigs, and that means I had to play all night, and it was all instrumental all night. And as much as I like surf music, I don't think I like it as much as Chris and Maui do. And I really like it, if that gives you an idea. But I just needed to change from that. So Hawk Attack became a band. The way that Hawk Attack got its name, if that's what you're wondering, John, is, and I'm almost done, I promise. We went through all kinds of different names, and I remember bringing in like every John Wayne movie title and saying we should name our band this, and that didn't work. So Brett made a homemade band name generator and put lots of different words on pieces of paper and put them in a little tin cup, and pulled out two things, and they just so happened to be Hawk Attack, and that's why we have the dumbest band name in the world, Hawk Attack. But if you're in the Denver metro area for St. Patrick's Day and you want to see Hawk Attack, you absolutely can. Oh, why do we wear the flight suits? That might be what someone's asking. I have no idea. I can't remember why we started doing that. But ironically enough, the guy that I almost got into fist fight with and left the Aquasonics over, he and I, like I said, we were fighting about not wearing the same outfits. And then I joined a band where we wore exactly the same outfit. So yeah, the irony is not lost on me. But anyway, did I just say lost it on me? The irony is not lost on me. Okay. All right. So let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to scroll. Hey, Van Shank Guitars has been a member for 2 years. How you doing, Van Shank Guitars? Okay, let's see. Steins Utubia. Do you know who else in the September class of the Dangerous Brothers and me? No, that's Dan. Does chambering the guitar change the sound or tone of the guitar? Well, you know, I think that there are things that happen acoustically when you have a great big hole in the inside of the wood. Whether or not that translates into something that you can perceive sonically through an amplifier is going to be different from specimen to specimen. For example, um, the American Icon guitar is built like an acoustic. That is very different than, say, our Challenger level 3 and 4, which are thicker than our Challenger level 1 and 2 and are hollow. Um, we could hollow out the level 1 and 2. Well, we could hollow out the level 2 maple tops, but they're carved, so they're and the mahogany chunk isn't exactly that big. So you're not going to get a whole lot of chamber. You might get some weight reduction, and that would be the primary reason you would do that on a guitar that's as thin as the level 2 maple top. Could you notice a sonic difference? Perhaps. Here's the thing, though. I have never met anybody who picked up a guitar and said, "Whoa, this is really heavy. That's the way I like them." I have been around lots of people who have picked up our guitars and said, "Oh my God, that's so light. I love it." Or they pick up a guitar that's, not heavy or not light, but they pick it up and don't say anything. Generally speaking, if you have a light guitar, people pick it up and go, "Ooh, that's nice and light." Happy meal. If it's right in that, it's neither heavy nor light, they pick it up and don't say anything. But if it's over 9 pounds, generally, here's what you hear people say, especially in my age bracket: "Oh my God, it's so heavy." So, yeah, so I would think that if you are building a guitar that you want to market, making it light to a certain extent is not the worst idea. And there's lots of ways you can do that. One of the ways that we decided to do that with the Challenger level 1 and level 2 is to make them thin. Now, they're carved tops, so the actual thickness at the thickest part of the guitar, right at the bridge, is right at 1 3/4, just like, say, a Strat. But it gets carved down so that on the edge it's like 1 1/4, like an SG. It's actually a little thicker than an SG, but uh, so but you remove a bunch of material and you make it light that way rather than put a big hole in the center. I know that's not really what you asked, but I think that making a guitar light is a good idea. Making a guitar, I can also tell you that doing a carved top is something that we kind of forced everybody to like our flat top guitars. And by the way, I still love our level 3, which is the only flat top option that we have right now. I still love them, but everybody wants a carb top. So okay, we make mostly carb tops these days. So I guess what I'm driving at, though, is if you want to make it way less, removing wood is the best way to do that. You can take wood from the inside and scoop it out and turn it into powder, or you can make it not quite as thick. That's the best way to do it. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Doc wants to know, is spruce difficult material to use for tops? I had cut, kiln dried, and resawed some from my camp, and it's ready to go. Doc, no, spruce is a wonderful wood to work with. Now, you have to endeavor to keep from getting bumps and dings, and if you press your thumbnail into quarter sawn spruce, as you know, you will have like a little crescent of your thumbnail, and you can make it be deep too because it's very soft. But yeah, just if you just take your time and don't set it down on anything, I think you'll be really, really happy with working with spruce. I think spruce is a great wood to work with, especially, let's get back to, especially if you want to do a carved top, because it's so soft it machines very easily. Um, mm. One word of caution, though, is if you're doing a carved top, keeping everything nice and smooth on the top is going to be tricky with the softness of spruce, especially given quarter sawn, because you've got the hard grain lines and the soft material on the inside. So, but if you go with the flat top, like say on an acoustic, yeah, no sweat. Okay. All right. I hope I'm answering you guys' questions to the uh it's such a way that that is helpful to you guys. We have a super chat. Hey, Brad Guitar Miller says, "Hi Matt, it's been a while. Here is my late fee and some money for a snow shovel." Brad, we have a snow shovel. We even have a snow thrower, and it's one of the little ones. Actually, I have a couple at my house. One, a great big one that's really nice and doesn't run. So how nice is it? One is the smaller one, and frankly, I like the smaller one because it fits in my garage, and it makes especially this is kind of wet, heavy snow, and yeah, so shoveling wet, heavy snow is a real bummer. So anyway, all right, well, let's see what else is going on. Am I missing any questions? Chris says Matt is correct, was correct. I don't know what it's about. Oh, okay. Um, yeah. So anyhow, yeah, gang. So well, see now this is fun. I like kind of getting questions about stuff and vamping on that for a little while and anything that you guys can do to help me out. Speaking of helping me out, I have a question for all of you watching at home and in the future, anyone watching in the future, not live. I have a question for you too. I have a plan this summer, and my plan is to put some guitars. I'm not going to tell you which ones. To put some guitars in my transportation module and drive to all the coolest boutique guitar shops in the United States. This is a lofty goal, by the way. And I don't anticipate it's going to be like, I'm just going to start one day and then as soon as I'm done with everything, I'm going to come back. It's probably going to be many trips. But my plan is to go to all of the coolest bodacious guitar shops in the United States and attempt to get a dealer network for Texas Toast guitars. If you're familiar at all with the story of Paul Reed Smith, you know that that is almost exactly what he did in 1985. Now, there's probably been multiple paradigm shifts in how you can do that these days. For example, I remember in 1985, there was no such thing as a guitar center in everywhere USA. So maybe going to a bunch of different stores was easier. Maybe it was harder back then. I don't know. It was probably harder to do because you didn't have the internet, and it was probably easier to do because there were more cool places. But I digress. So anyway, I don't know every single cool boutique guitar shop. I don't know every single guitar shop that's so awesome that they have their own t-shirts. I don't know every single guitar shop that has a YouTube channel. Frankly, I'm very busy making guitars for you guys. Um, so I don't get to watch a lot of YouTube videos about other guitar shops. So I know the big ones. You know what I mean? But pretend I don't know any. Pretend I don't know any super cool guitar shops. What guitar shops do you guys think I would have success in taking my instruments? Because here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to just like call, say, I'm fortunate enough to live right down the street from Wildwood Guitars. I don't want to just call somebody at Wildwood and say, "Hey, my name's Matt, and I have a company called Texas Toast Guitars, and we make cool axes, and I really like for you to carry them. And here's my pricing structure, and blah blah blah." I would rather go there and talk to somebody and actually have examples of what we make. Um, and some idea, you know what I mean? Handing somebody something that's tangible is way cooler than saying, hey, I make something cool, take my word for it and buy it from me. You know what I mean? Um, and I also understand that just because I go to, again, say Wildwood, because they're just so happy to be right down the street, they might go, we're not really interested. We have enough models or we have enough dealers or whatever. We have enough manufacturers. Okay. But I do want to get a dealer network going. And I don't, when I say a dealer network, I don't mean Guitar Center. I don't mean Sweetwater. I don't mean Musician's Friend. Um, what I'm talking about is something that is a little more I'm going to say the word exclusive, and I realize that getting guitars into a place like Guitar Center, Sweetwater, Musicians Friends, etc., is not an easy thing to do. But I guess what I'm asking is, what's your all's favorite guitar shop in wherever you live, and where would you like to see Texas Toast guitars? Now, the other thing is, it kind of has to be like a higher end shop, okay? Um, because I need to put my guitars. So, for example, if I wanted to sell cowboy hats to the Kardashians, I would not go to Westminster, Colorado, and just hang out my shingle and say, "Here I am, come get me with come into my shop, millionaires." There aren't any here. Um, I could go to Aspen, and could I could attempt to sell sundries and hats to famous Kevin Costner types. Um, but they don't come to where the shop is. You guys get my point. So let me know where the places that are known for selling high dollar axes are, and I'm gonna try to get into some of those places this summer. So anyway, all right. Now that I've told you all about that, see, Wayne's got my back here. Uh, okay. 64 commuter wants to know, which way do I turn the truss rod in a chawl to create relief? Oh, in a Challenger. Okay. Actually, you know what? I have a video on that, um, about how to do that and what it's like. I, so, Mike, let me send you a copy of that video, because it tells you all about it. And the Challenger. Let's see. I believe that if you turn it, if you're looking at, gosh, I really just wish I had my handy truss rod uh, demonstrator here. If you're looking at the body of the guitar and you're looking at the truss rod uh, uh, adjuster, if you turn it clockwise, you should be able to you should be building in um, an anti-relief. You should be straightening the neck. If you loosen it or turn it counterclockwise, anti-clockwise, you will build in a little bit of a smiley face. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, if you're watching. But I think that's how we do that. Again, it's one of those things where, like, I don't really think about it. I just kind of do it. And now that you put me on the spot, but Mike, I'll send you that I'll send you that video. It's on the website. You just have to have a QR code. It's sort of like the when you guys buy one of the loaded package challengers, you get one of these cards for the t-shirt voucher, and it's got a QR code, and you scan the QR code, and then you tell us what size you are, and then we get you the t-shirt. So that's cool.
The ones that have ordered them have shipped.
So according to Joy, the people who have ordered their t-shirts using the voucher, those have shipped. I think it's Dave Chenzoff and Wayne got one, and I can't remember who else. But yeah, that's they're on their way to you. Don David says go to Casino Guitars. I really want to meet the guys at Casino Guitars. They seem like really cool dudes, and I would like to take some guitars there. Um, let's see. Cottonwood and Costa Mesa, is that a cool place, man? I think I'm getting it right. 12th Fret in Toronto, Chicago Music Exchange, Elderly Instruments. Richard Ryan, my good friend Richard Ryan asked me a question. I'm looking for it now. Um,
Guitar shop. Ours is pretty much your brand name.
Fine boutique. Okay, so Richard has a good question about my definition of boutique guitar. So, Richard, you're right. There was a time when Wildwood was certainly more of a boutique shop than they are now. Um, and now what they carry is predominantly like the Fender Custom Shop and the Gibson Historic Reissue, and uh, it's a lot of Gibson and Fender and Paul Reed Smith still, but I would say I still think Wildwood is a boutique guitar shop, though maybe not in the same way that I'm imagining what a boutique guitar shop is. And in fact, what I'm imagining a boutique guitar shop is might not even exist anymore. But what I'm looking for is a shop that carries all that stuff, but additionally is willing to branch out into some other brands that take a chance on some smaller brands. So, like for example, if you carry um, uh, any if you carry Fender and Gibson and PRS and Sir and anything like that, and you also happen to carry Cower guitars, well, right, I would consider you to be a boutique guitar shop. If you carry all that stuff and you carry Nick Hubler's guitars, yeah, I'd say you're a boutique shop. If you carry all that stuff and you have some of Joel Danzig's guitars in there, yeah, you're a boutique shop. Anyone that carries at least one kind of uh, independent factor and independent shops instruments. How about that? So my definition of a boutique guitar shop, to my dear friend Richard Ryan, is if you carry all that other stuff and you also have at least one uh, uh, brand that is an independent, that is not somebody who's owned by Gibson or Fender or Paul Reed Smith or Taylor or Martin or an insert name of gigantic conglomeration here. If you carry an independent brand of guitars, at least one, I would consider you a boutique guitar shop. How about that? Okay. All right. That was a good question. Doc, would I consider have dealers in Canada? Why not? Um, why wouldn't I want to go to Canada? I think that would be cool. Um, uh, I would consider having dealers all over the world. Now, however, as you can imagine, I could drive to Canada. I can't drive to Australia. Sarah, if you're watching, she and I were talking about Australia and how it's a trick to get guitars in Australia, and I get it. But I wouldn't even know the first thing about getting guitars to another country. I'm sure people do it. I'm a person. Okay, why can't I figure that? But I think baby steps. Unless Doc, you have some you know some people I don't know, which I'm positive you do. Let's see if we can figure it out, man. Um, yeah, the Phoenix area, the Las Vegas area, California, that is probably where I'm going to go first. Though I do want to go east and check out the guys at Casino. Actually, I have kind of a thing, a bucket list. Here's a bucket list for me this year. I would like to do this year. I would like to get in the guitar. I would like to get in the hatchback with some guitars, drive to where Casino Guitars is. I think it's South Carolina. I'd like to make my way up the coast. I would like to see if I can meet Joel Danzig while I can. I would like to take Joy to a baseball game at Fenway Park. I would like to have a cheesesteak in Philadelphia. I would like to, maybe come back through the Chicago area and maybe stop by and see some of my relatives in the Quad Cities, and just kind of make it. Now, that's a big trip. It's a big trip. I get it. Maybe see some people in Nashville I haven't seen for a while. That would be fun. That would be a fun thing. So it's something I want to do, and it's a bucket list. And frankly, when I say it's a bucket list, like doesn't seem like it's that hard to do. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't seem like it's that much of a hardship. Like a bucket list seems like, oh man, I really want to go to outer space. Well, okay. Eating a cheesesteak in Philadelphia seems a lot easier than going to space. So why am I not doing that stuff? And the answer is, I don't know. Okay. Time. I have lots of time. Okay. Dan asks, where are you going to find the time to build enough extra guitars to take on the road? Well, Dan, as it turns out, we the shop is still just Chris and myself. And we talk often about uh, is that better? Let's try that. We talk often about getting employees and having training people to work in the shop with us, for us, assist us with stuff. And the simple fact of the matter is that we've already done that. While there are just two of us here in the Texas Toast shop that some of you guys have been to, Dan, you've been here. We do have a handful of employees at Max Home Guitar Works. Now, let me explain myself. Steve has a facility and a base of employees, and it has so as a lot of you know, our Challenger level twos and our Challenger level ones. I have a level one somewhere. But our Challenger level twos and level ones are kind of team built with Maximum Guitar Works. Now, another way to say that is that we have outsourced to Steve's shop some of the work on our guitars. So Steve has a great big shop. He has 5 or 6 employees, and we pay him and his employees to help us do this stuff. So it's the exact same thing as us paying somebody to come into this shop and work 40 hours a week, only we don't have to pay them for 40 hours a week. We just pay them for what we need. So it actually works out quite well. Now, it's not as simple as saying, hey, Steve, we need you to make these, because I could show you guys lots and lots and lots of things that were kind of learning curve projects. I mean, like Steve's people don't know. I can give you a drawing and say, this is what I want, and they can do it. But it took a while to get it exactly how I wanted it. You know what I mean? So just like it would be if I hired an employee, like right now, if any of you guys said, hey, I want to come and work at your shop for a week. So here's what happened. Our friend Doug Cook used to come once a year for several years, and he would work in the shop for a week. He kind of would do it like a vacation. And if he were to do that today, there's nothing here he could do, because our process is so streamlined, and we kind of have everything. Like I would not have time to train someone who's only going to be here for a week. You know what I mean? So he could come here and hang around, but that would be all he could really do. Um, and if we were to hire somebody new, there's nothing that we can just have them start doing immediately, regardless of what their background is. You'd have to bring them up to speed. And what we have done effectively is we've brought Steve's facility and workforce up to speed. And anytime we change something, we know it's going to be like, well, there's going to be a handful of things that ain't quite right. And so we have to look at it, inspect it, change this, do this differently, blah, blah, blah. And then we give it back to Steve, and then he tries it again. And then we go through however many iterations we have to go through. And to Steve's credit, man, he always comes through for us. Yeah, so it's a great working relationship. So Dan, that's how we're going to do it. We have a lot of great guitars here that are actually for sale. And there will be some I hesitate to tell you guys this. There will be some things that will be exclusive to these dealers. That's kind of what I'm going to have to do to interest, let's say, casino guitars in Texas Toast. They're going to need something exclusive. Okay. Wildwood, they're going to need something exclusive, something that I don't just put on the website and sell. They're going to need kind of an exclusive thing. So I'm going to make a couple of these exclusive thing ideas that I have, and we're going to take them on the road, take our show on the road. So I hope that makes sense. I'm actually really, really happy with our relationship with Steve at Maximum Guitar Works, because, like I said, it allows us to essentially hire 5 or 6 people without actually hiring 5 or 6 people. And you know what I mean? All of the headache and heartache associated with hiring a staff. So anyway, I do miss Brandon. I miss having Brandon here. God, the fart jokes alone were like that. Brandon was so much fun, and I miss having him around. And I wish Brandon was, could hang out more. But he's making moves. He's got his own stuff now, so I see him every so often. The pay, well, no, I mean we'll probably do a reveal tomorrow on that. Um, uh, but yeah, we'll probably do a kind of a big reveal. Lefty, it is an interesting looking paisley on the site. And that's available too. Is that actually for sale? Is it up on the for sale page yet? The paisley? It is? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably show that one off tomorrow. You can um you can always tell when Joy takes a picture because it is always way better than the picture that I take on my phone. It's usually propped up against the dusty wall or the pin router, and yeah. Richard, that see your Denver Guitar Exchange. I don't even know. I've never heard of that place. So yeah, I would check them out. I don't know anything about them, but but I can't. There's nothing that says that I have to know anything about you for you to be a real thing, because I am definitely in the under a rock most of the time. I guess we could show off the Paisley one. Let me get it. Hold on a second. The problem with the Paisley one, if there is a problem, is hang on. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna have to get a stand too. So just here we go. I'll just do this. That's not gonna work, but it's almost gonna work. Okay. So this is this is kind of a pre-reveal reveal. Now, see, somebody put this microphone in the way. So this is a level 2 Paisley uh, Challenger. And this thing's awesome. So it's obviously is a okay. See, the microphone's in the way again. It's a carved top level 2, like all the level 2s. This one features Dylan P90s, and it's totally spectacular. And no, this is not for someone in particular. This is absolutely positively. Um, there we go. I think that's one of the reasons that we end up putting the microphone there. So this is absolutely positively available, and you could have this guitar. And if you decided that you wanted something, so this is actually on the website right now. Someone can buy this right this second if they want. Okay. Um, this is available right now. It's ready to ship. I got cases, I got boxes, I got the guitar. It's ready to go. Or if you said, you know what, I like that, but I want something different, like Rod Harris did, you can send me fabric, and we'll do a paisley top for you, or leopard, or this is kind of a paisley floating around here somewhere. It's orange, so yeah. Um, let's see. Doc says I will check with Canada Customs and see what is required to bring product samples to Canada. I have to stop there. Oh, cool. Thanks, Doc. Richard says Denver Guitar Exchange does seem to sell through independent guitar makers as well as selling the really nice, expensive um, Magnetone amps. Cool. Well, Richard, that sounds like a good place to go. I should check that place out. Maybe I'll take this one down there and go check it out. Although, remember, I did say that I wanted to have some exclusives um, for shops like that. Man, this guitar feels awesome, you guys. Um, let's see. I've got some other cool stuff that I want to show you guys too, but I'm gonna keep some of that stuff a secret. I was having a little bit of a the Paisley guitar that I just showed you that is on the website. It's not on the buy now section. Oh, okay. Somebody on Facebook, you guys need to know. I don't spend a lot of time on social media. In fact, every single time there's a post on social media, it's not because I did it, it's because Joy did it. And I so I have no idea what's happening on like Instagram or Facebook or wherever else we are. And there was a guy who I have. There's a picture of our Challenger Level 1 natural, and it's positively beautiful. And it's very plain. It's a plain mahogany with a maple neck, and it looks like $1,000,000, even though it's only $12.99. Also available. And the guy was giving me grief about it because in the text it says it doesn't need any paint. In fact, it shouldn't even have any. And boy, this guy was reading me the riot act, and um, said that's essentially what he said was, it's odd to hear that from you, given that you have a guitar covered with graphics on your homepage of your website. Well, buddy, I don't know what to tell you, but I don't remember ever saying that no guitars should ever get paint. I think what I said was this one looks pretty good without paint, and I don't think paint would have made it any cooler. Certainly wouldn't have made it play any better or sound any better, just make it look different. I'm totally for guitars with graphics and shit on them. You can put whatever you want on your guitar, and I hope that I hope that you get the guitar that you want, and I hope that I make a guitar that appeals to a lot of people, whether it's people who like something kind of understated uh, and and dare I say classic looking, or something that maybe has like a crazy maple top, or something that has a bunch of cuckoo graphics all over it. I'm cool with all of that stuff, and I've never once said you shouldn't, paint skulls and tribal tattoo stuff all over your guitar. If that's what you're into, then yeah, then rock out. Um, if you want to paint Eddie Van Halen stripes all over your Challenger, hell, I'll do that for you too. But that particular guitar is an entry point, and it is priced accordingly. Though our level 1 is not an entry level guitar; it is just an entry point. So, all right, let's see what else we got happening here. What fretboard radius do you use on the Challengers, Sean? That's a great question. We use 10. And 10 is the radius that we use. Chris will be able to help me with this, I think. The original idea was that the Challengers would have a 12-inch radius, because the original Challengers, and I have one I can show. In fact, I have Challenger number like 2 here in the shop. They had two pneumatic bridges, which, as you know, the two pneumatic bridge is a 12-inch radius bridge, and it's not easy to it's not just a simple adjustment to make it 10 or 7 1/4 or 16. You have to file to get it to be a different radius. So the original fretboards were 12-inch radius. Once we started using our own bridge that is easily adjustable, we landed on 10 because we just like 10, and not everybody uses it. Paul Reed Smith uses it. There's a handful of people that do. Um, uh, and I like it. It's flat enough to where you don't have to worry about fretting out when you bend strings, and it's radiused enough to be comfortable. Which, frankly, all of that stuff is kind of hogwash. Um, uh, the comfort while playing chords is hogwash. The fretting out when bending strings is not. We built a lot of guitars that had what we call the infinity radius, which is just a flat board. Um, Everybody we gave it to couldn't figure out that it didn't have any radius on it, and you could play chords just fine on it. Anyway, 10-inch radius is a great radius, and that's what we landed on. So yeah. Um, let's see. Are you going to do a neck through class this year? As of right now, Zeb, we don't have any plans to do a neck through class, but let's don't 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 say never. Let's not say never just yet. There's no plans right this second. Okay. Um, let's see. Um, Lots of people are like to talk about fretboard radius. Um, Tom L is trying to figure out a way to lie to his wife. Tom, if you need help lying to your wife, uh, in paperwork form, just let me know. We'll make that happen. Uh, and a guy bought a custom guitar today, Iron Mike, and he said he wanted a Challenger like Phil McKnight's, um, flame maple or he wanted a guitar that looked like this with a fancy maple top, but he wanted a 5-piece maple neck, and he wanted neck binding, and he wanted blocks on the fretboard. I'm like, yeah, no sweat, man. So I sent him an invoice, and I said, just to let you know, when I did the original run of Phil McKnight necks, which were maple, walnut, maple, walnut, maple, I did those. I had to buy 5 of them or 6. I had to buy a bunch of them. And so I have some extra ones floating around. I'm like, I tell you what, I'll go ahead and build you that guitar for, not the same amount, for considerably less than I'm gonna have to charge you to make a new neck, put binding on it, put inlay in it, and all that stuff. Um, so I sent him the invoice for the the neck with the maple and the binding and the inlay, and I told him, I've got some necks that don't have inlay or binding. I can make you a better deal on those. And he said, my wife and I were talking. I think I'd be just fine with a plain one with no binding and no inlay. And I'm like, good choice, man. I love binding. I love inlay. But well, actually, I don't love inlay on my guitars, but I like the way it looks. But I also like a good deal. So yeah, so Iron Mike bought his guitar today, and all I got to do now is make it for him. So I feel good about that. So a snow day. I spent part of my snow day today, um, um, doing emails and attempting to sell stuff. So okay. Michael asks, I think a Challenger bass would be cool. A mahogany body that isn't a T-bird shape is missing on the market. Yeah, we um we have often thought about doing Challenger bass. It's something that I've even drawn out a handful of times, and I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. It is possible that we'll do an American Icon bass, which I realize is nothing like a Challenger bass would be. Um, there is also still quite a bit of talk about the double cut, Texas Toast double cut, name to be determined still. It's probably not going to be called the Honey Badger. It's probably not going to be called the whatever. We've tried a couple of different names. I wasn't really happy with the headstock, and I think I came up with something that I like. Um, but there's a couple things that I want to get figured out. So wait for that, probably third or fourth quarter of this year, a double cutaway Texas Toast guitar. It's not a double cutaway Challenger. It's an all new design. But yeah, bass. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure where we are with the bass yet. But maybe soon. Um, Let's see. There was one that I saw. Does the American Icon guitar have internal top and back braces? Well, Peter, what I will tell you, I'm not going to give away every single secret about the American Icon, but what I will tell you is that the American Icon is built a lot like an acoustic guitar. Okay. So it's got a top, it's got a back. The back and the top are not integral to the sides. It's the American Icon is its own thing. And mark my words, if I tell everybody how the American Icon is built, there will there will be a lot more of them made by a lot more other people. And I'm not willing to just give that stuff away just yet. If you want to buy one of the guitars and then deconstruct it, you can figure out how we did it. But and it's not like it's there's nothing magic. It's just a guitar built by guitar builders. And it's an acoustic guitar built by electric guitar builders. And it's got a top, it's got a back, it's got sides. Um, and as you can imagine, it's a steel string, so it would have to have some bracing on it somewhere. But that's all I'm really going to tell you. I guarantee you, soon at one of the NAMM shows, someone or lots of people will have guitars like the American Icon, and everyone will forget that we did it. and I'm not ready to let that happen just yet. I want to keep a little bit of a stranglehold on something that I think is very, very cool. And I know that when you guys get them, you won't want to put them down. They are so fun to play. It makes guitar playing fun again. So, okay. Max has a question. Five up. Max. Hi, I'm Max. He says, "Hey Matt, I've seen Norland Gibsons with three-piece necks and volute that still break at the headstock. Any idea why that happens? Is it the truss rod channel?" Well, Max, um, the biggest issue with any Gibson neck breaking is the headstock angle. Um, and any angled headstock will be more apt to break than say a Fender headstock. And Fender headstocks break too. Everything can break, right? The volute helps. The three-piece construction helps, but really it's the angle. Now, I've seen a lot of places that say that, like guitar forums and stuff that say the recess for the truss rod nut, it gives you very little material around the in the place where they break, and that's true too. Um, you can imagine though that the reason that they one of the reasons that the headstock angle is um, as exaggerated as it is because they use that truss rod. So in order to have that acorn nut fit in there like it does and have that little tiny channel that they use a spot facer to go in and clean up, um, it it's it does remove a lot of material. Um, but if you made the headstock angle less, that spot face access for the acorn nut will be way further onto the actual headstock area. Um, so that's one of the reasons that our headstocks look like they do. They have that access port built into the headstock, and it makes that and the 7-degree headstock angle make it as strong as it can possibly be. Um, but anything can break. Yeah, I know the volute helps. I know the three-piece construction helps, but what's really hurting Gibson headstocks is the headstock angle, and and the truss rod that they use. Frankly, it's completely unnecessary to use a truss rod like that these days. I think, says me. You guys can arm wrestle about that in a comment section or on a forum somewhere. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, yeah, man, it's a bummer, and I love Gibsons, and I've never had a Gibson headstock break, and I've had some things that I've done that like I'm like, oh man, I bet you I broke it, and they never did. Doesn't mean that they don't break. The other thing that I hear, and I don't know what years this was a thing, but it is my understanding that there were some cases that Gibsons came with that did not support the headstock, and if the case fell over or got bumped just right, it would shove the headstock and help break it off. So if you've got a headstock angle that's really that's got a lot of rake, you remove a bunch of material from the acorn nut adjustment area, and you put it in a box that puts pressure on the neck. Yeah, don't be surprised if it busts. And if you do all three of those things, you're more apt to have it break. So yeah, man, I think all those things are true. It looks like I missed a super chat from my buddy Doug, who says, Matt, do you think I could display the electric sex machine in his store? I think he absolutely could. I think he absolutely should. Um, let's talk to Ike. Let's see if we can get Ike to do that. What would you like to do with that, Doug? Let's make that happen. Someone says my microphone needs attention. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's not good. I'm sorry, guys. So it got moved from mono to two track. I don't know. I don't know. What's it like when I do that? Omni. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, gang. It's probably just me hollering. I'm
flicking in and out.
It's flicking in and out. I don't know what to tell you guys. Well, anyway, Alan says he's never owned a Gibson, but he doesn't see the need now that he has his TTG. God bless you, Alan. That's very kind of you, sir. Chris says that's a great idea. I'm assuming he's talking to Doug about the putting the 3-neck guitar at flip side. Wayne says it's fixed. Okay, cool. All right, way back. All right. I don't know what I did. Okay, I broke the cardinal rule of troubleshooting. I changed 2 things instead of 1. So I have no idea. I'm just gonna leave it where it is. I'll put tape over the little adjustment things. Hopefully that works. Sorry, guys. I wish I wish it didn't do that. One of the things that I like about doing these things is to do them in a podcast form that you guys can listen to, and you don't have to, because I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting here. So it's not like you're missing, any exciting hand gestures that I'm making. So yeah, I hope the audio is halfway decent. Mhm. And I hope that you guys enjoy these, because I enjoy doing them. I like hanging out with you guys. So even Brian Duncan. Oh, I love Brian Duncan. Do you think we'll see Brian Duncan this weekend? You think he'll be at the you think Sweet Dick Brian will be at the Clancy's Irish pub?
So.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I think we are just about ready to wrap it up, gang. So thanks for hanging out with us on a snowy, blustery day in Westminster. And if you were just listening, you would have missed the Paisley. That's true. But you can see the Paisley on the website. So, and I think we've got a lot of guitars that are going to be up on the website. There's a lot of pictures that have been taken and stuff that just needs to get put up there. And again, it just takes time to do all this stuff.
Paisley just sold.
The Paisley just sold. Who bought it? Did Doug buy it? Dave Powers bought it? Oh, Dave, you got something cool. I will ship it out to you first thing in the morning. Thank you. You're gonna love that guitar. So yeah, so thanks for hanging out, and thanks to Dave and who bought that. And Dan says his Thursdays wouldn't be the same without. Thank you so much, Dan. Peter says he loves the website. So if you guys love the website, I want to give a lot of credit where the credit is due. If you guys like the new website, you have Joy to thank for that. I have done nothing with the new website. So everything that is cool on the website is Joy's doing. All of the photography is Joy did that. All the setup, Joy did all that stuff. So so if the next time you guys are here for a workshop, take Joy out for drinks. And I'm looking at I have a cup of coffee and I have a bottle of water here. I am going to be in really sad shape playing a St. Patrick's Day gig Saturday and Sunday. I think I have not had I'll have like a beer every now and then, but I know there's going to be all kinds of booze and liquor flowing around this thing. And I know Jimmy's going to be there, and if Brian Duncan's going to be there, and if Chris is going to be there, I'm not going to be able to say no to everything. So I'm going to probably be a hurting unit come Sunday afternoon after we're done. So yeah. Anyway, Irish coffee is a thing. Not today, but yeah. But Tom, you're right. Irish coffee is a thing. Chris says I'm going to get drunk. Chris, you don't know. You don't know, Chris. So anyway, Ed Dupree says Joy is the best, and she is. Thank you. Oh, she is the boss. She is a boss. You want to know how I know she's a boss? Yeah. Dave, thanks again, man. And CF says the website takes your image to a new level. Thank you. That's what we're kind of trying to do here. You know what I mean? We're trying to have a real live business. So anyway, gang, I think I'm running out of time. I probably already ran out of time, but I want you to go over. Thank you again for joining us on this snow day. Thanks for helping me out with something to talk about. Thanks for letting me know about the microphone. And I want you to go over and check out Dylan and his lovely wife, Leslie. They're probably going to be coming to you from their new place in Georgia. And congratulations to Dylan and Leslie on their new house. Dylan will be out here in a couple of weeks for the Ultimate Build workshop with Dylan. I'm looking forward to doing those again. So, guys, have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow for some other kind of cool reveal probably. And Chris might be here. It might be Jim Jam Jimmy. I don't know. It might be all of the above. So we will see you guys soon, and have a great night.